And so when you multiply x minus 2 times x plus 3, you end up with x squared plus m and then minus 6. So we're going to multiply that by m minus 1 to get our m cubed. And then minus 7m, and then plus 6. There you go. All right, and then that one's number 5. Number 6. All right, number 6 is just a division problem. So we're going to set it up the exact same way. We're going to have 2x to the 4th minus x squared plus 3x plus 1. We're going to divide it by your x squared plus 2x plus 2. Okay. So from here, on number 6, you're going to get a pretty ridiculous remainder because you've got a fairly large trinomial being divided into this polynomial here, and I see a lot of factors that are missing. So let's take a look. Like we did on the very last division problem, this was number 3. You're going to start by taking the leading coefficient at the very top. So the exact same thing happens here. So 2 comes up to the top, and then we're going to have x to the 4th divided by x squared. X to the 4th looks like that, and then x squared looks like that. So when you cancel out your variables, you're left with just x squared. So that's what comes up here. 2x squared times x squared is 2x to the 4th. And then we're going to distribute like that. So we're going to have 4x cubed and then plus 4x squared. Now let's subtract. We're going to cancel that out. We've got no match for our cubed family, so that's going to come straight down. And then my squared family, I have negative 4x squared minus x squared is minus 5x squared. Now we'll bring down this 3x. And we're ready to write our leading coefficient at the top. X cubed divided by x squared is x. So negative 4x times x squared is negative 4x cubed. And then negative 8x squared, negative 8x. We get to subtract, which means that this is going to cancel, this sign will flip, and this sign will flip. So 8 minus 5 is 3. And then you're going to get left with 8 plus 3 is 11x. And then the very last thing, we're going to bring down our 1. Let's take our leading coefficient, write it at the top. X squared divided by x squared means we're done. This is just 3x squared. Plus 6x plus 6. Now let's subtract. And we're going to end up 11 minus 6 is 5x. And then 1 minus 6. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. So there's my remainder, and here's the denominator of my remainder. So it's going to say plus 5x minus 5 divided by x squared plus 2x plus 2. So this will be your final answer for number 6. Now let's look at number 7. Number 7 is a multiplication problem, and it says this polynomial squared, this little binomial squared. So 5x plus 3 written twice. Looks like that. So let's put it in the array. So altogether we've got 25x squared, 30x, and then 9. So this is our number 7. Okay. Let's move on to number 8, which is asking us to multiply the z variables. So we're going to have z to the 5th minus 2, and then we'll multiply that by z squared minus 2z plus 5. Okay. So z squared and z to the 5th is z to the 7th minus 2z squared minus 2z to the 6th plus 4z. That's 5z to the 5th, and this is negative 10. Alright, so let's add everything up here for number 8. Altogether, number 8, z to the 7th minus 2z to the 6th plus 5z to the 5th minus 2z squared plus 4z minus 10. Alright, so this whole equation turns into your number 8 there. Alright, next up, let's check out number 9. Number 9 says the graphs of the two functions are shown here. X cubed and x plus 2 cubed. How many zeros? Describe the transformations. Determine the intervals. Okay. So when you go to your calculator, which is where you're going to be for pretty much the rest of the problems on this set, it says how many zeros does the function have? Well, we know that the 0 here, it's going to have 3 zeros. And they will all be the same thing. They will either be 0 or negative 2. So let's take a look at our answer sheet here. Okay, so number 9, part A. How many zeros does the function have? Well, yeah. There's one right here. There's one right here. When you graph y equals x cubed on your calculator, yeah, y equals x cubed, you can zoom in way far in and you can tell it still only has that 1 0 at the origin. So yeah, window, zoom in. You can even just get it to calculate the 0, and it will just tell you it's the 1 at 0, 0. And we know this translation is just left 2 units. Describe the transformation, left 2 units. So each function has a triple root at 0, 0, and the other one was 0, negative 2, comma 0. There we go. At 0, 0, and negative 2, comma 0. Part B, the transformation was just left 2 units. And part C, the interval, the function is increasing. Okay. So again, on our, if you want to, we can go over to the calculator and we can just take a look at the picture. Zoom in a little bit on the window. Especially when you're super zoomed in, it appears like it's increasing, then it's constant, and then it's increasing. Increasing, constant, increasing. So we can say that it is increasing from negative infinity. It's going to be increasing from negative infinity all the way from negative infinity to negative 2. And then from negative 2, it'll start increasing again. There we go. All the way to positive infinity. So we can say something constant at 0. Okay. Number 10 says the volume in cubic feet of a shipping box is modeled by this function, where x is the length of the box. Explain how you know that x equals negative 2 is not a rational possible 0. Okay. So number 10, they give you the function. Let's see. Let me write out what they give us. Let's do that first, okay? We're going to write out x cubed minus 2x squared minus 19x plus 20. And they say, please prove that x equals negative 2 is not a possible 0. So remember earlier over here we were trying to figure out, like, is this a factor or not? And the way we could figure it out is using division. If there was a remainder, then it was not a factor. So we're going to use that same strategy here. We're going to convert this into a factor, and it is x plus 2 is a factor. We're going to divide x cubed minus 2x squared minus 19x plus 20 divided by x plus 2. If it is a remainder of 0, then we know x plus 2 is a factor. If there is another different remainder, then for sure x plus 2 is not a factor. So first things first, x cubed divided by x is just x squared, and we're going to distribute to give ourselves x cubed plus 2x squared. Let's subtract, and we get negative 4x squared minus 19x. Negative 4x goes on the top to give us negative 4x squared minus 8x. We subtract again. We get negative 4x squared minus a negative 4x squared. We'll cancel this down to 0, and then we're left over here with negative 19, and then this is going to be a negative 8. So negative 19 and then plus 8, and that's going to give us our minus 11. We'll bring down a positive 20, and we're ready to go again. Negative 11 goes at the top, negative 22 at the bottom. Now I cancel, and I'm going to get that my remainder here is 42. So 42 over x plus 2. Because there's a remainder here, this cannot be a factor. So the actual problem says, or is asking you for, explain how you know that it's not a possible zero. And you could say, because v of negative 2 equals 42, is not a zero. It would have to be negative 2 equals 0. Like, it would have to say that. It doesn't. It say 42. So, yeah. There is 10a. And now let's do 10b. 10b, show that x plus 4 is a factor of the function, and then factor it completely. Again, factor, they're just talking about division here. Show that x plus 4 is a factor. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to divide this function v of x divided by x plus 4. All right, so let's get started. We've got v of x is going to be x cubed minus 2x squared minus 19x plus 20. We divide by x plus 4, giving us x squared like that. Let's subtract, and we get negative 6x squared minus 19x. We put negative 6x at the top, and subtract. A negative and a negative is a positive, and then this just leaves us with 24. 24 minus 19, and that gives us 5x. Bring down your 20, and it looks like this is going to work out for us. If we write a 5 up here, 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times 4 is 20. So when you subtract, this whole thing has a remainder of 0. So this proves it out. The 0 happens here, so the factor is x plus 4, which means that your 0 is x equals negative 4. So this shows, yes, when x is negative 4, y is 0. So that proves it. Now let's go on to number 11. And we're in the last few problems now. Number 11 says, let the number of football jersey sales be F, and B is the number of baseball jersey sales. It says, find a model A for the total number of jerseys. So if we need to total this up, it's just an addition problem. No multiplication, no division required. We're just going to say F plus B, equals A. So F equals 12t to the 4th minus 20t cubed minus 20t plus 900. And then B is 15t to the 4th minus 10t cubed plus 10t squared minus 30t plus 700. Now let's go ahead and subtract, or let's add F plus B. So all together now, this is going to give you A of t, which is 27 t to the 4th. There's no match over here for your t squared variable, so be careful there. This is minus 30t cubed plus 10t squared minus 50t plus 1600. Part B asks for, is this function even, odd, neither, and how would you know? And when you graph it, this function on your calculator, it looks something like this. But and this is the important part right here. This and this local maximums are different. This is a non-symmetrical function, so you know it's neither. So this is not a positive or a negative function. It's neither. Okay. Number 12. It says you have decided to start a dog walking business. The table below shows your business during the first 6 years. Use a graphing calculator to find the model for the problem. Okay, so this is just like the birds problem. We're going to go to menu, new document. You're going to add a list in a spreadsheet and go to the very tippy top where it says you're going to write in X and Y. Now we need to put in our data. Okay, so we have all of our data entered in, and we're going to put down 3 different equations. We're going to write down first our linear, then our quadratic, then our cubic. We're going to see which one works, and we're going to know which one is the best fit because the r squared will have the highest number. So let's go ahead and jump in. We're pushing menu, statistics, stat calculations. You want to go to linear regression. This is option 3. And your X and Y goes in at the top. You're going to start this first column results in column C. So we're going to do column C for linear, column G for quadratic, and J for cubic. Alright, so we get our equation, and our r squared was 0.875. Like that. 0.857. Now let's go into our next one. Our quadratic will be in column G. So menu, statistics, stat calculations, quadratic regression. This is option 6. Again, put X and Y in up at the tippy top. Now you're going to save your graph to F2, and your first column result is going to go in G. Delete out every other letter and then put in G. You're going to get an r squared here of 0.996653. And let's go on now and let's do our cubic. We are going to put this in J. So go to menu and statistics, stat calculations, go down to option 7, cubic. Again, X and Y go in at the tippy top. Now you're saving into graph F3, and at the very bottom you want to delete out the letter and put in J. Now let's go ahead and hit OK. It's going to give us an r squared of 1. So we're going to accept that one as our best fit equation. We have an A of 1, a B of -2, a C of 3, and a D of 5. So all together, we have y equals x cubed minus 2x squared plus 3x plus 5. And that'll be our final answer. They asked me on number 11 to then use the model to predict your profit after 10 years. So on the calculator, I'm going to substitute in 10 into my equation. And there's a ton of different strategies to do this. For me, I'm going to go to document, insert, graph, and then I'm going to head to F3 That's what I named my cubic graph, was F3. So I'm going to have to push up once. There's my F3 equation. And now I press Control T and I go down to where it says x is 10. When x is 10, then y will equal 835. So in the problem, it says to predict your profit after 10 years, and profit P is in dollars. So this is talking about at 10 years, we're talking $835 in profit. Okay. Now we're going to move on to our last two problems here. We have number 13. Describe the degree and the leading coefficient. And then we're going to see about this one too. Number 14. So let's look now at the cubic graph that they give us. We can see that it is a cross and a bounce, and it has a y-intercept of 16. So we know for a fact on number 13 that no matter what, it is gonna have to be 16. So when y will have to equal 16 when x is 0. Now we can see that we have a cross and a bounce. The cross happens at x equals -4, and the bounce happens at x equals -2. So x equals -2, x equals -4. Here is my bounce, and here is my cross. So our factors should be x plus 4 and x plus 2. We're going to have a cross here, and we'll have a bounce here. So to answer the question, the degree, this is a cubic. The leading coefficient is 1. Now number 14. It says the function represents the volume of a cubic sphere, in cubic feet of a sphere with a radius of x feet. So they give us this function. Write a rule for W and then find W of 5. So let's go ahead and start number 14 with our function w of x. V of x equals 4/3 pi times x cubed. This is the volume. Now we know that our sphere, every single x has been multiplied 12 times. So this is saying the function, all of our x's are multiplied by 12. So our new function, w of x, is going to be 4/3 pi times 12x cubed. So from here, let's multiply out what this is going to be. We've got 4/3 pi times 12x times 12x times 12x. There's my 12x cubed. Alright, so we're going to have 12 times 12 times 12, which is going to equal 1,728. And then we'll have x times x times x, which is x cubed. So let's keep this thought process going. We're going to have to multiply 4/3 times 1,728. So we're going to multiply 1,728 by 4/3. And that's going to give us 2304, 2,304 pi x cubed. And that'll be our W of x. The final thing that they ask us for is what is W of 5. So let's substitute in 5 for all of this. When we do this on our calculator, we get that we have a volume. Don't forget to multiply in there by pi. We have a volume of 904,779 cubic inches. And that'll be number 14. Thanks for watching, guys, and hit me up in the comments when you need to ask a question. Take care. We'll see you on Monday.